The Team House with your hosts, Jack Murphy and David Park.
Hey folks, welcome to episode 378 of The Team House. I'm Jack Murphy here tonight with our guest. I'm really happy to have on the show tonight a veteran of the Canadian Special Operations Regiment, or CSOR. His name is Sebastian Bouchard, goes by Butch. That's how all of his teammates know him.
Nice to see you, man.
Our first CSOR veteran on the show. We're really happy to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Family's in bed. It's late here in London, and we got all the time.
Thanks for doing it.
I even dusted off my
to represent. Yeah, I love it. So I usually ask people at the beginning of the podcast to tell kind of their origin story. If you can tell us a little bit about how you grew up and how that took you towards military service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I joined at 17. You can tell in my accent, I'm French Canadian. It's important for your audience, you're US based, and I like to say that, is I'm French Canadian because I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but there's Quebecers, from the province of Quebec, which I'm born in Montreal. I'm from the province of Quebec, but Quebecers are the ones that in the 70s and early 90s, I think they want to separate from Canada. Allegiance is to France, whatever. I'm not. I'm Canadian. My birth language is French, but I'm a proud Canadian. I served with the Canadian military. And I joined at 17. I think, I've watched a few podcasts. I know a lot of military guys, both, in the States and in Canada. When you grew up harder neighborhood or a bit less wealthy, there's a lot of guys that come from that background. I don't know if it gives you more grit or whatever, but I grew up okay, but really basic and in a bit of a harder neighborhood in Montreal. And it just always interested me to do a physical career. And I'm 42 now. So if you backtrack, when I was a teenager, Full Metal Jacket, early 90s, it was military movies and stuff. So that piqued my interest. And then, you remember that movie, Full Metal Jacket. And
sure,
somehow I thought it was cool to get yelled at and, the drill instructor. Yeah, so it's as simple as that. It hooked me. I watched Full Metal Jacket 20, 30 times. I was hooked on it. Video games kind of, give you a bit of a flavor of it. And then, right off high school, joined the infantry. So I went combat arms. Make people laugh a little bit, 17-year-old, skinny, tall, just high school diploma. And I went into the recruiting office and I'm like, oh, I want to be a helicopter pilot or maybe a jet pilot. These jets. You know where I'm going at.
Yeah. And he points to the test score and is like,
I didn't do the score yet, but he's like, let me introduce you to the infantry. And so here we go. So and they sold me on it anyway. You can, no matter the weather and everywhere in the world, you'll be in trenches and combat and blah, blah, blah. So I was sold. Convinced my parents to sign because in Canada, I was not, an adult yet. So I had to convince them to sign, and they did. I didn't give them a choice. And I joined the French Canadian Infantry. It's based in Quebec City. Nickname's the Vendus. So it's the French Canadian Regiment of Infantry. Served there. I was lucky that I went through the steps, right? Battle school and blah blah blah. And I was lucky when I went to the 3rd Regiment. That's where, in the 90s, the disbanded our Airborne Regiment.
Yeah, Patricia's, was it Queen Patricia's regiment or something like that?
Yeah, so from the late 70s, whatever, when they stood up, there was a regiment based in Ontario in Petawawa. It was a airborne regiment, so all the paratroopers were in the same regiment. And then they had a company that was French Canadian, and then two other companies that were Anglo Canadians. That was a regiment got disbanded, and when the government decided to disband them, they put a company of parachutists, so with the maroon beret, in each of the infantry regiment in Canada. And you're correct, Jack. On the West Coast, we have the PPCLI, and Quebec, there's the French Canadian Infantry, and in Ontario, there's the RCR, Royal Canadian Regiment. And each of those have a company of parachutists. So I was lucky that, back to my story, is I did battle school, and then I checked in my infantry regiment, and you don't go from being a new guy to the para company. You need to earn your way to be sent on parachute course or airborne school and join that. But somehow, I tell you, it's a true story. Somehow, in 2000, they needed bodies, so they took, I think that I don't remember, 5 or 6 of us from battle school straight to the para lines, to the para company, which was a big deal back then.
And you
Like
didn't have
just
your wings yet, so
we paid. You do not show up because it's not like I magically had my airborne course.
right.
So I remember showing up there with we have green berets for infantry, and I show up in the para lines, new guy day one with 5 of my buddies, maybe less than that, with a green beret for. They couldn't load us on the airborne course for another few months. Uh, I was 17, skinny, and new guy does, you're in the para lines with a green beret. Like it's funny, like all these little cultural things. Like we had to take our beret off as soon as we walk in the lines, because then you're getting smoked. It was illegal, Anyway, so better part of my career was, or the first part of my career was 5 years, right into Paris. So basically, my infancy was parachutist for 5 years in the Vendus, deployed Bosnia and Afghanistan, yeah, with
Tell
regular
us about the
infantry.
first one to Bosnia, what that was like for you.
It was, I didn't know nothing. And it was within a few months. It was even before I had my Maroon Beret, actually, now I recall. And we deployed to Tomislav Grav in 2001, in Bosnia. Obviously, it's getting blurry now. It's decades ago, but I remember not being. It might be the reason later on that I joined Special Forces, but I remember being. You remember I watched Full Metal Jacket, and now I'm in the infantry, and I'm thinking it's gonna be war like Vietnam at the end of the movie, right? And it was peacekeeping, correct? Right, in 2001, the war was over. It was peacekeeping, so for the 6, 7 months we were there, we would switch from, and most soldiers know that, regular soldiers know that, we would rotate from gate duty to patrolling, peace
Peacekeeping.
stabilizing operations. So we would patrol, and then the third phase would be QRF for those patrols. And then it was 7 months of just, you had the gate, or you're doing patrols that nothing happens, or you're QRF and you don't get out, So to be honest, yeah, I was proud. I was 17, 18-year-old, hanging out with the boys in Tomislav Grad, but more money, because for us it's tax-free when you deploy. So I was happy, but it didn't scratch the itch, right? It was like, well,
Right.
is that right?
And then
It was kind of not.
presumably not too long after that, 9/11 happens and Canada joins the multinational coalition. How was that kind of like transitional period for you? As Canada's going to war now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that happened right after this. Like, I think I was still on leave when 9/11 happened, and again, normal infantry, we didn't think we deployed right away. They sent the PPCLI. The infantry that was there from 2002, yeah, they deployed. So it wasn't us; it was the West Coast. But then when we knew that the PPCLI were in the mountains, patrolling the mountains and part of the mission, then it got our head shed and our commanders. Oh wow, yeah, we're going to war, right? So I had to wait. It was Roto 2, I believe. So I think it went PPCLI, and then they sent the RCR, but now it was in Kabul. So the initial push that they needed the PPCLI, and I don't know, but what I heard is the PPCLI or our regular infantry did phenomenal in 2002, right, supporting the efforts. But then I was a young soldier, right? I don't know what happened, but then it was just Kabul, and Kabul was secured at that point. Remember, 2003, Kabul was kind of secured. Taliban's were hurt, and it kind of was a repeat for us in a way. It was somewhat of a repeat of what I did in Bosnia. It was keeping Kabul safe. So my regular infantry time was quite peaceful. It wasn't moved to Kandahar, and that's when the Kenyan forces got really hit hard with, fighting the Taliban and Al Qaeda. It was in Kandahar. So my tour for Afghanistan under a regular infantry unit was in Kabul, and it was a rinse repeat from Bosnia. Nothing happened there. There was an OP at our Camp Julian. There was OPs north and south of it. So you would rotate from gate duty to OP duty. So you'd spend a week basically sleeping on camp, but not just,
Yeah, up in a tower somewhere.
Post. Yeah. And then you do patrol for a bit, and then you rotate. Look, I'm not saying that I don't regret my time in the infantry. It sounds like that when I speak now, but we're talking 5 years that they made me a man. Like the training in infantry is hard, you know that. You're hard and you do hard things and you do a lot of physical activity and you go to the gym. So and you had great leaders too. At some point, there's great infantry leaders that respect that. Remember, I joined at 17. So to me, that's where I grew into a man.
Right. Yeah.
And I wouldn't have passed the rest of my career, I think, not having been grown and forged by this regiment that I respect so much. But the two missions I did with the infantry was not eventful. After that, though, the guys from when they moved to Canada.
If you're in the market for a new mattress, you've probably seen all the brands out there vying for your attention. Big names, splashy ads, all promising the same thing. But here's the only brand that does it right. It's GhostBed. GhostBed was created and is still run by manufacturing experts with more than 20 years of mattress making experience. They know the craft and they know how to build a bed that actually lasts. So how do they offer premium mattresses for up to 50% off less than the competition? It's not hype, it's smart logistics. As a family-owned company, that means there's no board of investors to answer to. It's just folks working hard, selling mattresses. These are the true manufacturing pros, and the result is an exceptional cooling and comfort at a price that won't keep you up at night. Every GhostBed mattress includes proven cooling materials backed by a 20 to 25 year warranty. You'll also get a 101 night sleep trial with free returns if the mattress doesn't work for you, and fast free shipping. Most orders arrive in 2 to 5 days. Right now, as a Team House listener, you can get 25% off site-wide for a limited time. You can just go to ghostbed.com/house and use the promo code HOUSE at checkout. That's ghostbed.com/house, promo code HOUSE. Upgrade your sleep with GhostBed, the makers of the coolest beds in the world. Some exclusions apply. See site for details. I want to thank GhostBed so much for continuously supporting us. It's been going on a year almost, so I really appreciate that. I hope you guys, if you're in the market for mattresses or pillows or bedding, check out GhostBed. You can go to ghostbed.com/house and get 25% off right now. Love you and love GhostBed. Thanks, guys.
So for you, coming back home, and it sounds again like you didn't quite scratch the itch that you had. Didn't have a hard combat deployment just yet. When does this thing called CSOR, when's the first time you hear about it?
Yeah, and again, we don't know each other that much, but I like good stories. I'm the guy, I like to entertain the room and stuff. So it is a good story. It happened 2000, was it 2000? No, 2006, yeah, or late 2005, anyway. Because I wasn't scratching the hitch that I was discussing. Then, I was a corporal by then, got promoted in Afghanistan. Yeah, so I was a corporal, so it's the second rank for us, right? And getting some experience in the infantry. And I'm discussing, I remember, with two other guys, they're still serving with the regiments. I won't say their names, but I'm with two guys, and we're like, oh, we're gonna, obviously of JTF2. We're like, oh, we're gonna screen for JTF2. We're like, okay. So we initial paperwork for your chain of command to review and then send it to CANSOFCOM. But then, so that happened. I remember it happened, I think, on a Friday. Okay, yeah, we're putting the paperwork in, that's. And on the Monday, so I guess Monday morning, the leadership put in each of the company's entrance, they put a A4 piece of paper, a little poster, but just on a normal printer piece of paper. It was like a recruiting poster for something new, right? And I don't remember the exact details, but it was questions. So there was no symbol of a unit. It was just like a soldier from World War II, because our lineage is with 1st Special Service Force, the Black Devils. I found that out later, but I think it was the Black Devil on there, and it was question, Jack. So it was like, are you into direct action? Are you interested in? Yeah, they got us right. Are you into special reconnaissance? Special warfare. Do you want to work in extremely small teams? Like questions like that, maybe 5 or 6 questions. And if so, send an email to this. I was sold. I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, that's going to be better than JTF2. They got 175 of us, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was open to the entire military. So even Air Force, Navy, you could, I guess they recruited through the entire CAF, Canadian Armed Forces. And that process was pretty quick too. I think the email was sent to my warrant officer. Anyway, they tracked down who I was. Anyway, the 3 guys that we decided to do it. And it was literally, I remember saying to these 2 guys, or we're saying to each other, first unit, you're cocky when you're young. And I'm like, first unit that replies gets us, So CSOR was bang. I think the next week we're starting to do initial physical testing.
Oh, wow.
Psychologist test. So that's why I ended up in CSOR.
So as you're kind of like, yeah, and Butch, if you can lean a little bit or scoot your chair a little bit further forward, because I think we lose words once in a while. You might be just a little too far from the computer.
Yeah, okay. I can even.
I think you're good. No,
you can't see my screen anymore. No?
Yeah, no, put it back, because otherwise we're kind of looking up at you. I think right there is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All good. Thank you.
We're closer.
Yeah. So as you're going through this process, it sounds like did they have some sort of assessment and selection like protocol already established?
Again, it's getting quite far in my memory, but it was fast. I remember doing test after test. They had a selection process. We'll get to that in just soon in the story, but I think they mimic what JTF2 is already doing for pre-selecting, like interview with a psychologist. Initial fitness test was pretty easy. I answered some questions. So I think that was just carbon copy from what CANSOFCOM, which was not created yet. It got created at the same time as CSOR, I think. Because at first it was JTF2, and their ELOs. And I think at the same time as when the regiment stood up in April 2006, I think CANSOFCOM became a thing because now there's two maneuver element. So it gave them the reason to have a command. I think that's how the story went. But yeah, there was a process. I remember going through a process. We like I said, so everything was successful for all of us from this para company. I remember as a young man finding it pretty cool, the entire process, because it was really secretive. From a poster, send an email, your chain of command will handle everything. And then we get the, I don't know what you guys call it, report duty.
Oh yeah,
message.
orders.
Orders. Okay, so let's use that word. So we got orders. Let's say it was winter, and then by April of 2006, we get orders of next week, you're reporting to the base of Petawawa, Ontario, more to follow. That's it. Bring your rucksack and bring this, kit list. Hey, man, like as a young man, by then I was what, 20, 21, whatever, 22.
Yeah, and it has a
The
secret.
three of us took one car and drove 8 hours to a base we've never been to. It's an experience, right?
Yeah, it has a little bit of a secret agent flair to it. You don't know what you're doing.
They really
or where
did
you're
that
going.
at the beginning. Yeah, I tell you. Yeah. And show up. I have to find a building, whatever building name, find a building, and then there's some guys in uniform there. We didn't know if it was the cadre or whoever. They're in civies. Remember, I'm in the infantry. Clean cut, uniform all the time. Now there's a bunch of guys in civies, civilian attire. Okay, who are you? Find you on a list. Okay, you're in that room. So it was pretty set up. They put us basically in barracks. And it kicked off, I think it was a Friday, I believe. Yeah, because we got drunk that weekend. Yeah, so showed up on a Friday, partied for one last time for months, and then it started on a Monday.
And
pretty cool experience, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the parade that first morning, just strangers, minus the two guys I brought with me from Quebec. Just, I think that was that, like 175, something like that. New guys.
What was the selection process like? And were the instructors JTF2 cadre?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It was mostly, for the hands and feet, for sure. It was JTF2 guys. And then I remember some specialties would be, I remember when I'll give you an example. When we did the basic demo, door charges and blah, blah, blah. It was, I think, an engineer from the regular army, because it's basic, right? So there was at certain points, when we did climbing, it was an AMO from what, I don't remember where, PPCLI, I think. But yes, the course warrant officer, course officer, most instructors were from JTF2. And I know you said selection, so
yeah,
there is a proper selection for decades now. But the first course, and that's when, I was young again. I didn't really understand the politics, but I guess the government back then, I'm not privy to that, but really CSOR got stood up because JTF2 was saying, look, we're in Afghanistan now, we need a support element. Rangers, to do the cordon and support them in DAs and blah, blah, blah. So I think that it was government saying, okay, here's money. You got the approval to start this new unit, but it needs to happen now. Politics, maybe they were running out of time to do it. Elections coming, I don't remember. But it was pretty fast because they got the approval, a bag of money, and make it happen. So they didn't have time to put the 175 people through a pipeline of whatever selection they need to invent now. They can't copy the JTF2 one because it's two different separate mandate. So what we did is we started course. So day one, I don't really recall exactly the course layout, but day one, let's say, they separated us in teams. So it was basically companies, and we would do phase one, these guys do phase two, and then we swap. So everybody's trained at the same level, and then we move to the next step. But every week, at least once or twice a week, there would be something called an evolution. And it was basically a selection event, right? So everybody starts the course, if you get my story, everybody start the course without having done all the phobia tests, all the tests that you look at, the psychologic or decision making. They did it during the course. So what was weird is that a guy could do well at hands and feet, but then on week number 12, finally he gets tested for phobia, and they discover, oh, you got a phobia, boom, gone. It's weird, right?
Right.
Guys would be taken off course because they failed an evolution, a selection event, halfway through the course, because that's the only time they got to test for this specific skill. It is really a weird. I find it weird now that I'm educated and I did my career. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not the best way.
They were trying to build an aircraft while in flight, basically.
Perfect way to say it. Perfect way to say it.
Yeah.
And that was the only year. Yeah, I think, or maybe they did that for 2 evolutions, but after that there was pre-selection, selection, then board, decide if you go on course, and then course.
So presumably you make it through the selection events and get selected for this unit. Can you tell us a little bit more about like what CSOR's mission set? I mean, you did touch upon it already a little bit, but I think maybe the mandate you said shifted a little bit as the years went on.
It did. Look, now it's 2025, almost 2026. I've been retired for a long time. I don't know the mandate switch already, or but I guess that easy way to start is high readiness, expeditionary, special warfare experts, DA and special reconnaissance. And I think because your U.S. base, if I don't like to, because every unit's different, but we were kind of mentioning that at the beginning before we went live, but mash the Rangers with the Green Beret Special Forces, put them together, and that's the closest I could say,
Right. They have the DA, but
DA
also
experts that do special warfare at the same time.
And they also do like the advising, like we'd call it foreign internal defense.
Yeah. How do we call it again? But I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Foreign defense.
Going overseas and training friendly forces and things like that.
Yeah. And we really cut our teeth later in Afghanistan. So that, we finished Afghanistan. For us, it was 2013, I think we closed the mission. Towards the end of, the last 4 years of that mission, we were really cutting our teeth into AAA, advise, assist, accompany.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we called it anyway back then. And more recently, the last decade, Iraq against Daesh, did a lot of buy with through with them. That's another word we like to use. But yeah, look, for your majority of our audience, if you would take the Rangers and join them with the Green Berets, Special Forces, it's pretty good comparison with CSOR.
So then tell us about kind of like the first combat deployment for CSOR. When does that start coming on the horizon?
Right after the first course. Like I said, they were the new command, and JTF2 is hungry to get a bit of support. So 2007 was my first, the stand-up parade. So the first course being done was August 2006, and I was in Kandahar. I don't know if you heard that base, Graceland. It was where JTF2 and was based, and then close by, I think SEAL Team 6 had a compound, Gecko, I think it was called. So I was in there, I think February 2007. So, we did a big ramp up too. So basically two courses, one after the other, because the stand-up course, the pipeline, and then pre-deployment training right after. I remember I had a week off, and then we're on pre-deployment training for a few months, then leave, then in Kandahar. So first deployment with CSOR was in 2007. In Kandahar, the mission set of how was it called? This up. I don't remember the name of the mission. Anyway, this rotation that I was on, it was attached to JTF2, so we're working for them. I believe just like the Rangers would be attaching themselves to Delta. I'm not too sure, but we'd be in support of JTF2 operation, and their mandate was definitely DAs, night raids on HVTs, MVTs. At that time, the regular infantry battalions were getting hit hard by IEDs. So I remember that first tour, the nights that we deployed was targeting IED facilitators, leadership for IED makers at night, obviously. And it was quite busy, again, though that tour is pretty far in my head, but I'd say we'd get out once, twice a week. Lots of, I think it's the same for you guys, lots of spooling up for an up, and then something changed, either the air stack or the intel changes, and then I'll stand down. So we did a lot of stand up radio checks, and then we don't get the green light. But at least once or twice a week.
Were you scratching the itch at this point?
Not quite, and it was more. I definitely felt that I joined something special. But remember, Jack, it was our first tour next to a proven, tier one. We don't really use tier, but tier one unit. So we're the new retarded brother. And I say it how it is now. I'm retired. The new guys that enter, I got lots of friends in JTF2, and I deployed with them many times. Great, great tier one unit, I believe. They were pretty pissed off, most of them. They were not the only guys on the block now.
But I thought they wanted you.
Huh?
I thought they wanted you. They requested this unit be created.
I guess the leaders saw the need, but when you come down to the guy that's on the ground, and I'm a funny guy, and it's funny now. It wasn't funny then, but the assaulter down on the ground that joined JTF2, and he's a new guy too, but then he sees these new guys that less equipped a bit. We don't have all this specialized, there was a disparity there with kit. We don't have the same budget. So anyway, I'm not saying they treated us like slaves. That's not what I'm saying. But the culture, it wasn't, welcome boys, we needed you. It was more like, you stand there, you little new guy, new unit. So there was a lot of that going on. And it's all fun and games now. But back then, you just finish it. It was tough course, tough long months of, and now you think you made it, but then you show up on a mission, and then the guys that you're supporting, they don't love you. They don't hate you, but they just don't really want you there. So you go out at night on a hit, and they make sure that you're on the blocking force and you stay there. And if they're shooting inside the structure, you make sure you stay out there. We don't need you, watch your back. There was a lot of that. Still a good lesson learned. We did a lot of training. That camp had great training facility, and because you're outside of Canada, the training's a bit more realistic. There's less rules, when
Yeah,
you're on the
yeah.
base back on same as stateside, right? There's regulations and range wardens. So the training was great. I don't know if you visited, did you visit Graceland or Gecko or
No,
this
no, I never been
complex?
there.
It was a great complex, the best base I've ever been on throughout all my deployments because we had a huge backyard. It was a big a mountain range basically, but it was all ours. And so maneuver, the ground was huge, so we could do whatever. 360 maneuvering the bombers, machine guns. We were needed to be the heavy weapon experts. So spent a lot of time in the turrets on the 50 cal machine guns, cargo staff, mortar. Like we did a lot of training, and it was as much as you wanted, you know, as much ammo as you wanted.
Connex containers full of ammo.
Yeah, so I had a great memory of that first tour, right? Because I was a young, corporal still, not a leader, and you're telling me that I can leave my room with my C8, my carbine, my pistol. I can just grab ammo, walk to the range by myself, and shoot for 3 hours. Yeah, by myself. Just need to check in with HQ saying, "Hey, range number 2 going live." To me, I was a rock star. I'm like, so we spent all our time either in the gym or on the range, which, if you think about it, grew our skills even more than on course and then detachment commander doing detachment training on himself doesn't need to fill paperwork, so it's kind of fast track our skill level or increase our skill level even if we're not out of wire working. We were training at a high level inside the wire. Does it make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, I want to tell you about the sponsor for tonight's show, which is TrueWerk. They make performance workwear that's built like it matters because it does. In the fall, the weather changes real fast. It can be hot, cold, wet, windy, sometimes all during one shift. So you want performance workwear that will carry you through the entire day, like these pants that I'm wearing here today. TrueWerk was founded by a trade professional who is tired of wet, heavy gear weighing him down. TrueWerk set out to make workwear that keeps professionals comfortable, capable, and ready for whatever the day throws at them. They're designed with advanced performance fabrics for lasting comfort, all-day mobility, and year-round job site protection. Every piece is tested on job sites with trade professionals, so when conditions change, you're still ready. This product right now has over 50,000 five-star reviews from professionals in every trade and every climate. So I really enjoy wearing these pants. I think you will too. I hope you'll go check them out. This is the T2 work pant. It's durable, flexible, water resistant. The thing I really like is that they're stretchy. Like this is something like you could even like actually work out in if you really wanted to, but certainly during the workday when you're bending over and crouching over and picking things up, these are very comfortable. It also has like some like a lining inside so it's comfortable, around your hips and like where your belt would go. They also make the M3 Whoopee hoodie, which is wind resistant, insulated, and very comfortable. And they make the Tower Parka, which is a fully weatherproof and insulated jacket designed for cold, wet job sites. And they also have a line of flannel shirts that I hope you guys will go and take a look at. So upgrade your day with workwear built like it matters. Get 15% off your first order at TrueWerk.com with the code HOUSE. That's TrueWerk.com. And the promotion code to get 15% off is HOUSE, HOUSE. Thanks, guys. And so you did a couple deployments to Afghanistan. I'm just kind of curious, like, how did you see that mission sort of evolve as CSOR matures, but also as the battlefield changes too, I imagine?
Yeah, it did. So that was the first one. I liked it. It wasn't scratching the hitch yet, but we are an infant unit and I understand the steps we need to go through. The leash was still on, if we can use that terminology. We work for another unit. So there was a few rotation of that I wasn't on there, but I did mine. And then there's a few evolution of this. And then I'm not too sure what happened. I'm not sure why. But where CSOR really got their first kind of glimpse of what it is to be self-sufficient and do operation on your own was in 2009. Again, I don't know why the decision was made that for 2 rotation, I think JTF2 was busy somewhere. That I don't know. But it was CSOR only in that camp, Graceland. So there was either 1 or 1.5, and it was many months that there was no JTF2 assaulters with us. So, and I did the second end of this portion. So my 2009, what I'm saying, my 2009, oh no, I deployed twice in 2009. I did one combined, but anyway, I did 3 months of this portion of CSOR doing their solo op. It was us. We weren't kind of approved yet to do night ops, like going for HVTs, hard knocks, and we didn't do that. What we did, what they tasked us with doing was desert mobility, old school, SAS stuff, like in trucks in the desert for 30 days. And I basically I replaced a guy that got injured. I was a sniper by then. I did sniper course at some point. So one of the snipers needed to be repat, so I took the rest of this portion of his tour, which was great because I got to live this mobility lifestyle this entire tour we did mobility on the we were tasked in denying was it yes drugs going out into Pakistan and money coming into the Taliban. We needed to disrupt that, so spent I don't recall. I think the longest one was 32 days.
Wow.
Yeah, Jack, it was amazing. Maybe that's what I like, but living out of trucks and snipers were on ATVs, these six-wheelers, Polaris six-wheelers.
Yeah.
I lived out of that ATV for 32 days in the desert. It was amazing, and just disrupting them. So either getting cash, we got like, jingle trucks, trucks, load of hashish, like bricks. And it was amazing. I think it was supported by what's your drug enforcement agency?
DEA fast teams.
Yeah. So it was supported by that in some way. I think they would come in a chopper, take pictures, then we'd burn it all. Anyway, it obviously this mission was in support of the U.S., right? So we were supporting them indirectly, I think. But when we would get something big, they would show up for pictures, and it was beautiful. I really liked it. We would get resupped every week, I think. They would drop with the RC 130s. They would drop loads, what we needed, fuel, food, blah blah blah. It was great. Yeah.
And so, 30 days out there patrolling constantly. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it was needed because remember, we're still infant. I don't want to use these words all night, but we're new. We're 4 years into becoming our own thing.
Mhm.
Remember, we stood up a regiment. So that is still in play now. So what we've learned, I think, and again, I think we took the SAS kind of book because they did a lot of that, right? So I think we initially kind of studied when it started. We're like, okay, we leaguers and the mobility TPs and blah blah blah, which we're not going to discuss, but we started somewhere, and at the end of these mobilities, we were extremely good at it, and we made our own SOPs, and we became really good at it. So it was needed. It's another tool in our toolbox that we sorted out and we did ourselves, and then now it's in our books, and that's what we teach our new guys, because but now guys are retiring, but we were passing that knowledge now on course. Even though they're not doing it anymore in the world, we had this knowledge, real experience that we did ourselves. It was great. Loved it.
I gotta ask too, because our viewers will love it. What since you were a sniper on this deployment, which rifle were you carrying? Was it the 338?
Yeah, 338. Yeah, and we had a grade 338 to his Prairie Gun Works, PGW,
Mhm.
DTI. Yeah, And it was first it was a McMillan chassis, and when we had this one, I love this thing as tag driver. So my primary was AR-10 on the quad. I would have my AR-10 right on my handlebars, and then we constructed things like these ATVs. We worked on them ourselves, so I could live off it. So I had a big barrack box at the back, compartmentalized with okay, food there, ammo there, easy access. Okay, I'm 72 on the front with my AR-10. So it love, and each quad was different. And yet you're correct. So 338 we had 150 cal, Macmillan 50 cal per detachment. Our detachment was 4 quads. We're not going to go in tactics, but basically picture the snipers, they work in full and on these squads. And then we've had 150 cal or 2 per team of 4, each sniper with their 338, each sniper with a semi-auto platform. And yeah, it's great. An highlight of that, I don't want to go into tactics, but picture, and we kind of, nobody told us how to do it, but how do you stop a convoy of jingle trucks that you're picking up? It's desert, right? We're in the desert. There's no towns. Small villages once in a while, but it's really bare, flat, some dunes. But anyway, you see a obvious convoy of 5 jingle trucks, 6, 7, 10K away. How do you tackle that? How do you stop them? VIs. No choppers coming in to stop it. It's just Humvees that are slow in the sand and ATVs that are fast. So I'm not going to discuss how we did it, but we found like a pretty cool way to just, stop them, catch up, blah, 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 overwatch. It's great. So we'd get excited, you wouldn't see anything for 2-3 days, and then you pick one up, and then you got to go after it.
So this was just like a fairly prolific smuggling route.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They were moving drugs out and cash in. We didn't. To be honest with you, I'm always honest. I don't remember us because we'd separate ourselves, but I don't remember us getting cash. We got a lot of drugs. Yeah, so the cache, I'm not sure if they were using the same routes that we kind of vectored in, but we definitely vectored in the drugs.
So after Afghanistan, what can you tell us about Libya?
But look, it's not a secret. I got a medal for it. Like everybody got a medal for it. So it's a known operation. You remember in 2011 the
That was
17 revolution
when Gaddafi got it.
Yeah, so Libyans were sick of Gaddafi, revolted against him. The Air Force was heavily involved into supporting the effort, the coalition effort to support certain militias, and that's so what I'm gonna say is that there was another first, for CSOR. It was the first time. Remember, I mentioned we are the eye readiness deployable unit, DA unit for Canada. So this one was the first time that the pager went off. We had pagers back then. That was our first time that pager goes off, and I don't remember the exact specifics, but fast enough that the ROEs and the briefs were on the plane. So I don't want to divulge how fast we can deploy and stuff, but
yeah, you were out the door very fast.
And fast enough that you're getting briefed on what you're going to do on the plane.
Yeah. And so, it's a rapid deployment. What are you guys like? What's your idea of the mission? As you're learning more.
Sorry.
What was sort of your understanding of the mission that you were going to?
That's definitely, plus it's past operations, not a secret. We were gonna go there in civilian, working for foreign affairs, and we were to assist, but first analyze and assist with the reintegration of our head of mission into Libya. Gaddafi was on the go. Tripoli was kind of like the not green zone, but the safe place. Benghazi, it flipped now, right? But back then, Benghazi was far west, really dangerous, and Tripoli was kind of stable under this militia that was supported by the coalition. And I guess back then we had a head of mission, so not an ambassador, but a head of mission that was keen into going back in there and showing face. And hey, I'm back in Libya and we're supporting the revolution. And we were tasked into prepping for her arrival. It moved into other things that I don't want to discuss, but
Sure.
that was the support that we had to do for this operation.
And I mean, from your point of view, how did it go? I mean, this is still sort of a new thing for the unit.
Yeah, again, another new for Butch, and again, in different ways, I loved it. I love being in the desert. I love the stuff that we spoke about before. This one was different because, again, for a young regiment, it was the first time we didn't have a cover story really, but we did. We weren't CSOR coming in. We were with Foreign Affairs, and we're just here on a diplomatic mission, and we're conceal carry and blah, 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 in civies. So again, it's a first for us. So did we do stuff wrong? Yeah, but we learned a lot. So first time, I believe it was, yeah, but it was the first time there was a pager call and we're deploying quick. Not sure if it was the first time we were in plain clothes. I'm not sure about that, but it was my first time. I really enjoyed it. I can tell you, and like most soft unit, you think outside the box, right? Everybody likes to say that, but that's the first time that me, Butch, noticed that, hey, I'm with the right crew here. Like we think outside the box. And I'll give you an example. This deployment for me lasted about 3-4 months. And we were always having trouble moving from A to B because the militia would have many, many checkpoints, and what's that movie in Benghazi?
Oh yeah, I know.
It's kind of cheesy movie, but it's a great
13
story
hours.
because it's true.
13 hours.
Yeah, please, thank you. So that the opening part of that movie, that checkpoint that's really tense, and he's like point at the sky like UAVs are gonna kill you if you kill me. Like the opening scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he picks him up from the airport and there's a standoff as a checkpoint. It was that's the real that's pretty legit. The checkpoints are really tense and you'd stay an hour, 2 hours, and it was, and you can see them because Tripoli was in Benghazi. I wasn't scared of them kidnapping me or killing me. It's just another checkpoint.
Right.
And they just make you wait for no reason, right? And there's guns on you, and they have zero muzzle awareness, and so it's dangerous to get shot by the ND, And when go back to my thinking outside the box, we just got fed up. So we're like, we noticed that they were trying to, because they had a coalition of us behind them, they were trying to be legit. They weren't, but they were trying to look like a military, So they had an ID. We started noticing, and it wasn't at first when we showed up there, but I think as the media's involved and they want to look like they're legitimate force in Libya, we started noticing IDs. And one day we're like, you know what? We took picture of their ID and then we're in the hotel room, just, scanners and stuff. Like we made our fake IDs. We're like, we'll try that. So our real picture with their little, the Libyan flag, and how did we call it? It was a diplomatic support something. Anyway, and me, because I was always in Paris, so me and another, he's still serving, but we'll call him Jay. Me and Jay had our, and because the nature of our work, we're kind of the ones the most on the road, whatever. We're like, we're gonna test this, really? Like, yeah. So then we start showing our IDs, and they're like confused, and big smile. They're like, welcome to the team, boys. We're going through checkpoint like no other. And they never, batted an eye.
In your defense, Butch, you made fake IDs, but they were fake to begin with. I'm pretty sure the militia made up their own bullshit ID
you
cards.
make me feel better. Yeah. It worked. Another thing actually that just popped in my head. I like these kind of stories. Backtrack to our first day in there. So how it worked, there's no problem saying that. How it worked, we didn't fly right from Canada into Tripoli. We needed some approvals still to come. You know how fast it was? The politicians needed to catch up to make all, okay, yes, now you got green light to go in country. So we went to a third location, okay? So it was fast to leave, and then it took like 2 weeks to get the final approval. Right, it's typical, right? They pre-stage us basically. So we're pre-staged somewhere, and in another country, and we're there, bag of money, renting rooms, blah blah blah. But we deployed. I'm a sniper. Then that's where we're there, sniper for support in case. So I have a 338. We just discussed it. Yeah, it's collapsible, but I have this PGW 338 there with my carbine, my pistol. Yeah, pistol, okay, concealable. We're there as diplomatic support. We're not soldiers. So then, a day or two into this arrival in the third location, Jay and I look at each other like, how are we gonna? Our suitcase, like it's too long for a travel suitcase. Mm-hmm. Like, how are we gonna smuggle that in the country? Oh, okay. You're gonna think I'm lying? I'm not. We literally went desperado, and we found in that third country, we found guitar cases, and we're like, hey, it's perfect. It fits in a guitar case. So like, we bought guitars there, guitar in the trash, boom, long gun in the guitar case. The carbine fit in the backpack, but whatever. I'm fast forwarding to, okay, go time. We're coming in Tripoli. So we land, convoy to the hotel that we selected that would stay. And then again, going back to these militia, they took control of all the 5-star, 4-star, where media would go and all the Western people would go, because there's a lot of real diplomatic efforts there and lots of media. So where the white people stay, they would secure it to show, look, we're on your side and we're securing your hotel, which was needed. They had like airport scanners in the reception, like beep, 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 plus the scanner, and then you had to go through this. So I don't know his name, but what I'll describe him to you is Jay and I show up for check-in as a diplomatic agent of Canada, but I like music, so I bring my guitar everywhere, right? But then we didn't plan, there was no recce, so we don't know we're gonna go through this. In hindsight, yes, send a recce team of folk guys, we got this to go through. No clue. So we show up, and I look at Jay, there's no turning back here. So I put my guitar on this airport scanner. It goes through, and I'll describe him to you. His nickname because we became almost friends. His nickname was Double Inverted Glock, because this kid, this like 15-year-old kid, had 2 Glocks, not 1, 2, but he had leg holsters, but inverted so that he could draw like this
Cross
on his
draw.
thighs.
Yeah, I love it.
His name is Double Glock Inverted, whatever. But that's the first time I meet him, and he's that day behind the scanner, and I saw my guitar go all the way to the end. So I'm like, yes, but then back in, and he's looking at the screen. I'm like, now in my young soft mind, I'm like, oh, what is gonna be the option here? Like, am I gonna, because I'm concealed, I'm like, I'm going through the step of what are my options if he pulls the double draw, Yeah. No, Jack. He looked at the screen, he looked up at me, looked back down, and it's like he saw the coolest thing in the world. His eyes were like that big, and he looked at me. He looked at me, and he's like, "I know your secret," you know. So then I knew we were good. He's like, he didn't say a thing. He just winked, and he's like, "Yeah." So every morning when we'd go do whatever we wanted to go, and I'm coming out with my guitar, he's like, "Wink, wink," all the time, "Wink, wink." Anyway, in hindsight, that's how it is, right? Like, are we compromised? We did discuss that. Is there a threat to us
Right,
now?
right.
If they switch, they know that we're not who we're saying. We're young. It's a new, we decided to just go with it, and it was perfect. We moved anyway. It took about 2 weeks. We moved to proper team houses. So it was 2 weeks of like, if they turn, they know directly which room to go into, whatever.
I love the double
Uh,
inverted Glocks. I'm gonna have to remember that one.
yeah, look, I wanted to share that.
Um, and then I mean, Libya winds down after 3 or 4 months for you. You're returning home. Have things kind of notably shifted within CSOR that now this is becoming a seasoned unit that's capable of conducting different types of operations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but by then we're because Libya was, like I said, am I correct? It was 2011, right? That revolution was
2011
it?
is when Gaddafi died, so it probably
Yeah,
took
so we
off.
were there while he died. So,
Yeah,
and the day that he died, it was crazy. We were in traffic for like 12 hours because they were shooting in the air, like jam packed everywhere, and just like 3 hours of just emptying mags or T54s. Just the rule was shoot towards the med. It was safe for them, shoot towards the med. I lost them, but I had videos of us in our. We picked team houses by the water because we like to swim. We think it's you had to be at because they shoot at night. You had to be in at night because the rounds they come down. And
yeah, yeah.
literally, like I don't have anymore, but I would have videos of my window open. It's like ting 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 ting
Like
all
it's
night.
raining.
Anyway, so Gaddafi died. We were not there when he died, but I mean the entire country was just shooting in the air for like 3 hours. Ridiculous. So 2011, we are a regiment now, and we're building our own culture. I don't know if you noticed, there's not many guys on podcasts from CSOR. Like you said, I'm the first one. And there's a reason for that. We definitely have a culture of do your job, and that's it. I don't think it might change, new generation, but this unit of mine is really concentrating on making a name for itself, which it has a great one now. But throughout the culture was always do your job, shut up,
Right,
and
right.
I don't think there's gonna be, but no books, no. And I'm not saying it's bad to do it. People want to know, but this culture of ours is really. That's why I'm keeping it to light stories, and it's really our culture. One thing I notice now that I live here in the UK, I work alongside retired SAS guys, and SAS is like that. It's hard to get stuff out of them, and we didn't mimic them. It just happened that it's kind of our culture to, you know, keep it to ourselves. So, 2011, yes, we're teenagehood or whatever. We have some operation behind us. We're learning at every turn. I'm skipping a lot of special warfare stuff, training missions.
Mhm.
So those are still happening. Those are constant. Not sure if we're still in the Caribbean, but Caribbean,
Yeah,
Africa.
are you
What
allowed to
else?
say which countries Canada partners with and does training?
Yeah. Which
Are you allowed to say which countries that you guys would go and train?
there's some that you can look online. Yeah, Flintlock is a big
Okay,
operation.
in
Yeah,
Africa, right?
yeah. So we are participating in Flintlock. don't remember the one in the Caribbean, but we're in the Caribbean. We went to Belize. That was in the news. And obviously, if we're deployed somewhere kinetic, we will do both. Remember, Ranger and Special Forces. We'll have a team doing AAA and a team doing missions, or So it's important for us to, when we deploy somewhere, we'll definitely give some skill sets to our partner force. We'll partner with a unit for sure. And we rarely do stuff by ourselves. We always partner with locals. Yeah.
And, a couple of years down the line, now we got this problem called ISIS. Where does that kind of come onto the horizon for you and the unit?
2014, there was this tribe on the top of the mountain that kicked it off, right?
The
For everybody.
Yazidis, yeah.
Yeah, so it was immediate. So you guys took the lead on that. I remember that. And we had Roto 0, we call Rotos by numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3. So Roto 0 was in there right away. First, northern Iraq, just outside Erbil. And then as the war went on, it went into Mosul, so in Iraqi territory. But at first, it was with the Peshmergas, right, the Kurds in northern Iraq, Erbil. So 2000, I think late 2014 was the first time we're in there. Into 2015. I have to say it because he's a great friend of mine, but you're aware we lost green on blue. We lost Andrew Duaron.
Yeah, at a checkpoint.
Yeah, so he was on that first course with me, so I knew him well. So, peace be with him. Green on blue. It got mentioned many times in the news, so I don't have to go into it. But just bad, not on his part, bad decision making of the Kurds he was going to advise, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was big for us. It was our first loss.
Wow,
right?
wow.
We lost. We lost an operator before that to a disease. So we lost, but first combat loss was Drew, and our only one.
Wow.
Yeah. So his name was great. He was a great operator, and
I remember when it happened. That is a really sad story.
at first, in the news, it was. I didn't like that.
I remember that they were trying to make it sound like he blew through the checkpoint or something. Yeah.
No, he was doing unapproved ops.
Yeah. I remember this. Yeah.
It's not what happened.
Yeah. It was just a case of like mistaken identity and confusion, right?
Yeah, it was. And look, quickly, if people don't know, this detachment led by Drew was doing, I think it was night vision training using night optics with the front line, because it's right at the front line, and I don't know if your audience know, but the fight with Daesh, especially with the Patch, it was World War II, trench lines.
Yeah.
Dead man land and then ISIS on the other side. So he was up on the float teaching partner force during the day how to use these things during the day, so it's easier. I'll come back at night to teach you guys how to use them. But he didn't get told there was a switch in whatever their unit was switching. And the unit that took over, again, I wasn't there, so I'm not sure of all the details, but that's how I understand it, is the unit that took over that evening, the trenches, they were in a big tick with Daesh like a few days ago. So they're really on edge.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you see what happened? So then these bearded guys come back at night from their from the back. They think they're getting ambushed again, or, so then they open fire. Yeah. Just sad.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it anyway.
Yeah. Well, tell us about your experience with the Canadian word was Operation Impact, right?
Yeah.
What was that
Operation
first deployment like?
I was in 2015, mostly summer. So I went there in the summer of 2015. So shortly after, this debacle. And basically, I'd say it's one of the highlights of my career that I enjoy the most, because at this point in my career, I'm a detachment commander. So I'm making the calls on the ground. I got great guys in my detachment. And how Operation Impact for us was set up is we would have a detachment plus attachments, a team of sniper, a JTAC to this core detachment, me and my 5 guys. And I would be in charge basically for the time of my rotation. I would be given a partner force, but also given a piece of that flood. So it was about, let's say 20 kilometer of and that'd be my sector. And so I would deploy from the headquarter element, that's an hour drive back, and I'd go to my team house, which was in proximity of this sector that I own for the next 5-6 months, right? As a sergeant, not an officer, as a sergeant. We would have officer support. They visit the team house and come see us, but basically I'm the boss of how many Peshmergas that are defending this line. They don't report to me, they report to the officers, but their officers seek my consult and have meetings with them all see it, and that's how you need to see it to do a proper job. Is that was my guys, and that's my front line, and I don't let ISIS come through, and how we would impact the fight, Daesh, is we would leave our team house, and I would do a recce, visit all my position, and pick, with the intel that these guys are telling me, the officers, I'd pick where to situate myself for a week. We were capped at a week. We couldn't be on the front line more than a week. So I would pick flavor of the week, where's the last time they had a tick? Did they try to push there? So I would have to select, okay, we're going to go spend a week there. That's the broad stroke of it. But for a sergeant, now I'm scratching that itch. Now I'm in charge of the guys I love. And plus, I'm actually in the fight. I'm in charge of this line. And when I say in charge, I am, because we do buy with through. So it was buy with through their version of a JTAC. With my JTAC, we would select which target we're going to strike. But again, it wasn't Canada war. So for people that don't understand what buy with through is I'm there with you, with my team, and I point you in the right direction. I teach you how to find them in their, DFBs or which house they're in. I focus you on it, and then I help you write your SALTA, your request for a bomb, and then you send it. So it's you that called the Air Force to come and support. It's not me. We would double check that, okay, the coordinates are right and stuff, but that's what buy with through means. It's them that owns the bomb, but I supported them in making sure it's accurate and there's no collateral damage and blah, blah, blah. We do this assessment for them. So that's what I did in 2015, and it was really fruitful. I don't recall anymore, but we did keep a kill count, obviously, because we're soldiers, and it was really fruitful. So much so, and we had access to our organic weapons if need be. And that the rule of engagement was that if we'd use organic, it was in defense of our partner force. You understand? We couldn't use organic
offensively
directly. Yeah, we had to use airstrikes if we wanted to strike them, but buy with through. Anyway, this rotation in December, that might quite a bit of news. We discussed that in the pre-interview. Is that I can speak a bit about it because it made the news internationally. As I don't know if you recall or if it came across your desk, but in December 2015, there was a large attack from Daesh trying to push the line.
Is that the same breakthrough where the SEAL named Keating was killed? Charles Keating, I believe.
He died during my rotation. He was further north, so it wasn't the same breakthrough.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't. It was a smaller breakthrough after mine, I believe. Look, I owe him better than this. I'm not sure if
No, it's
it was
okay.
after. Yeah, the big breakthrough was definitely just in the Canadian line. The center of their push was a town called Teleswad, and it was again lucky. It was right in the center of our team of 11, 12 plus our pesh. So it was in our sector, and it was a long, almost 48 hours because uh, basically it unfolded kind of in steps. So we weren't on the front when the push started, right? So at first it was definitely because our team house was like 3K from the front line. So you can hear, whoa, something's really going on. It was kicking off like World War II probably. VBIDs, suicide bombers, they did the proper pre-fire. So there was about an hour of rockets and artillery, like 155. They had 155,
Holy
right?
shit.
So there was 155 rockets, improvised VBIDs, just pushing, trying to pass Teleswad. There was another town that tried to come through. Anyway, big firefight, mass casualty. So, because when you do special warfare and like special forces, you build rapport throughout these months, throughout these roles. So what we did is we had a small medical facility at our team house. Remember, we're just, I don't want to say just gunfighters, but we didn't have a PA attached to us. We just use our skills. And to win their trust and their loyalty, because their main hospital is about an hour drive from their front line, we'd say, look, any Bobos, stop at our team house. If we're not at the front with you, just stop at our team house. If we can help, just stabilize you for the drive back to Erbil, to the roll one, let's say. And it happened often. In the afternoon, you're not deployed at the front, and then a guy shows up, he rolled his ankle, or he got a stray bullet or whatever. So you do a bit of that. But this afternoon, it was a big push, so it was like nonstop. And truckloads, Hilux loads of all this is the best medical training I ever got was there. It was like all the injuries, gunshot wound, mangled leg, cut off arm, open skull, stuff that you even, so much that we had to, after a few hours, we had to have a PA, physical assistant, special forces doctor basically reinforced us. And then he took care of really the prime ones, try to stabilize them as much as possible. And then we put them back in their truck, and then they wouldn't make the rest. I don't know the numbers. I don't know how many we saved, but we did stabilize a lot of casualties during that flood push. We ran out of all supplies, so that was that many. We were down at we'd grab from our bed sheets from our beds, packing God. Yeah, no, it was look, it's a long story. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but lots of lesson learned there, down to the amount of stuff to explain. So the influx of casualties is coming, let's say from the north. It was actually north. They're coming down the highway. They're coming to us. Our team house is not ready to have, 30 casualties at a time. So we have one bed. So now it's outside on the gravel, prioritizing and putting them on the ground. But also we weren't ready to get so much crowd. It was almost down to crowd control. Because now the Kurds are extremely courageous, right? The people, the civilians, they are a courageous bunch. I respect them a lot. So when they hear on the radio, Daesh is pushing in Tel Aswad, there's traffic of civilians with AK-47s
Oh shit.
nighttime traffic coming to see what's going on to help. So now, I shit you not, at some point there must have been 300 people just crowding our little space, just there. It's crazy. It's reality.
Did you have to kind of take control of the tactical situation and start positioning them and organizing them?
Yeah, and you know, my guys, man, the guys I worked with, my heroes, because I'm in charge of this, and until the officer showed up later, I'm in charge of this. So my 2IC, he's heavily involved now, prioritizing casualties. You know, guys are, you know, the guys are all doing medical stuff. Then I got my 2IC. The push is that we don't know what's going on. They might be really coming, and then we're only 4Ks away. So my 2IC is taking tactical lead, because really my job is to advise assess. So I'm constantly running in between my team house. One thing I didn't explain is our team house was with the HQ of the Peshmerga for this, you know, so the Kurds. I'm constantly running to the HQ to try to advise them on what, because they're feeding me through interpreter, like, they took this mountain, we're overrun there, bring the planes, I want the bombs on. I'm like, no, you got guys there. I can't drop bombs on your guys. Yeah, kill them. It will save more people. Like I tell you, like, you know, it's a long story, but so I'm constantly running, checking on my guys. You okay, bud? Yeah, okay. Boom, back with the HQ. So that's why I needed help. You know, I called back. I'm like, look, overwhelmed with work here. Took a few hours. Got a CSOR major with me. He took that from me now. Now he's with the Kurds, advising, assisting them with what they need to try to control this mass of ISIS soldiers. They're past they're now fighting with the position. So they went through the, how do you call it, DMZ?
Yeah.
So they're now like end-to-end combat, really, with the positions. Yeah, it was crazy night. And again, the buffer now is 4K between, if they lose their position, if ISIS is strong enough to really push, then they're coming towards us. So we don't know that yet. ISR is giving us intel. Info is coming in nonstop.
I take it you used organic weapons defensively that night.
Yeah, so yeah, they didn't get their emails. We're gonna bring the organic to them soon. They never got past. The Kurds are so courageous. They never got past the line.
That's awesome.
The forward line of own troops. Never passed it. It was constant battle there. Timeline wise, so picture this mass cash and us deciding to ask for support because now there was JTF2 in country. I forget the exact timeline, but early into the night, let's say around 9 p.m. that day, the officer now is with me and he's like, yeah, we need help. So we brought JTF2, a few JTF2 guys to reinforce us. They don't like that I'm going to say that, but I'm going to say it because it's not their mandate for Canada to advise, assess a company. So they took over control of our team house, security of our team house, and then we went forward to regain the line, right? So you can see why.
Yeah. JTF2 coming in to support CSOR. That, yeah, I can see that not going over well.
Yeah, and hey, it's mandate.
Yeah.
And but at least it tells you 2015 we were owning our skills enough that there's a clean line now. You're not going after HVT, it's not a hostage rescue, it's advise, assist a company, and it's DA, it's us. So they came in, took control of our team house to allow us to go forward. I think the officer took a great decision because the organic weapon, the engagement, because I knew the ground, you know, a lot. I said, look, we need more snipers. So we took 2 JTF2 snipers with us, and a warrant officer to help with leadership. So we could 3 assaulters with us forward. So basically, they kind of gave up the mountain. I'm giving you a broad stroke here, but they pulled back from the mountain. really they were trying to take this village, tell us what. So that's the only thing we had to retake. The PESH are not equipped with night vision, so it needed to be a daytime. So what we did is it was, our contingent of CANSOF, I don't remember the exact, 15, let's say. 15 guys plus, I think, 1,500 PESH. I decided because of the land, I told the officer, I'm like, look, we're going to spend the night at this tank position. There's a tank position just not even a K from the village, but we're going to bring everybody there. We're going to hold the ground. And then first light, good old school first light, we're going to advance on the town. I've planned with this officer. It was all his plan. He delivered the plan, but I helped him build this plan because I know the ground. So we decided that CANSOF would be in a school. It was probably the only two-story building in this town. It was a really small town. It's all single story, two-story, a few houses, but this one was positioned perfect to do a perfect, almost L-shaped kind of support base, and the PESH would take the village back. So all CANSOF guys, we took control of this school that had 2 stories, so we're on the 2nd story, and then supported them, taking back the village with organic weapons, support weapons, mortar, and then the JTAC doing his job with the stack he had. And obviously, a real gunfight, so, took down a lot of ISIS guys that we could with our baseline. And the PESH did a great job, took hours, clear the village, and basically pushed them back through the few breach they made, and they retreated basically.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelming fire, they retreated back to their side, and then that was it. And came back to their village. So that was the December 2015 kind of operation. One of my, I really enjoyed that one. That was really the entire thing, right?
Yeah.
Then with medical, then that. One thing I want to say too on this one is the reason that we kind of had a lull. We did the mass cash, then we want to get after it. They're coming for our team. I was like, let's go. The hold up here was our commander, the general of CANSOFCOM. The only reason we didn't get the green light to take our PESH and go take the line back for at least, it took like 4 or 5 hours of just waiting for them to come, So we're on the rooftop of everything, waiting for it to come because we couldn't get the green light. As simple as our commander was on a flight to the States. So he's it's how stupid it is sometimes, right? But
I've heard stories like that. Yeah, like the commander's asleep, so you can't get the airstrike approved. Yeah.
Kind of. And that was worse because we got CANSOF guys about to be overran, and they want to go and take the line back. But we have to wait for his command. And one thing I want to say is, back then it was General Rouleau. From what I know, I wasn't there, but from what I know, when his phone started pinging when he landed, and he talked to his staff officer, what I heard is that, hey, the CSOR boys are in trouble. Daesh broke the line. Like, do they go or they retreat? And I don't know the words he used, but he said, they're not retreating. Tell the boys, leash off, go. So I got to say, this commander had balls, and he did it. Because you understand Canada, right? We're really...
You're very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that's my personal opinion. But, this commander, basically, I got to say, put his balls on the table, say, no, they're not retreating.
Yeah. Take the gloves off on these assholes.
It was the right decision, but picture this. In front of a partner force, we leave them.
Right. Your credibility is gone.
Think of the repercussion for future rotation and relationship, right? So he did the right decision.
And then the second deployment to Iraq, you kind of got to see the fall of Mosul, right?
Yeah, I did, yeah. summer 2017. So again, I got lucky. I was back in a because that 2015 one, I kind of moved laterally to be a commander of a detachment. That's how kind of our when you go up in rank. I was a specialist for most of these years, right? A sniper, because in CSOR we don't have snipers in each detachment. We have actually a sniper squad, and I don't want to discuss more than that, but our snipers are all together. So I moved laterally to do punch in as a commander of gunfighters. And then right after that roto, I went back to my roots, to my specialty as a sniper, and then I was a detachment commander. So when this roto came, now the war was moving north. Is it north? Yeah, north towards Mosul. So now our partner force became Iraqis again, because you understand Mosul is Iraqi centric. So they had to take Mosul back, was the Iraqi, not the Kurds. And this roto about the same time, it was 5-6 months long. Our job was to support the Iraqis into taking Mosul back, and that was going on for many months. But it happened that my rotation was the last. We didn't know it was going to be the last one, but it was the last one that they took West Mosul with that hospital complex that everybody saw on the news and stuff. So that was the last stand. They were surrounded. That was the last stand of Daesh, and it was different because it wasn't trench warfare anymore. It was urban. So, and I was centric in a supporting, in a sniper position. So basically, bare bone, old school sniper position for a few days. Move your position every 2-3 days. Urban OPs, and we were at the front quite often. Spend a week in an OP, a few days back to the team house, back with the Iraqis at the front, and it went like this for months. Many engagement. I don't want to say the number, but it's in the hundreds every 2-3 days.
Were you guys still with a partner
Discuss that
force?
afterwards.
Were you guys still with a partner force and kind of had a sector of the city?
No, this one was different a bit. We were we could only go, that's how it worked. We could only go and pick a building in a sector that our partner Iraqi unit was in.
Okay, yeah.
But there was a restriction on us, and it's okay because we're snipers, so the range was okay, but we could not be within a kilometer of the actual flood. And it changed every day, right? Because it's urban now. So the Iraqis are taking ground or losing ground. And me as the commander, it was restriction that they didn't want Kansoff within or closer than a kilometer. So it was a lot of work on satellite imagery for me okay, where's the front line today? Okay, I like this building, I'll go see this one doesn't work. And then we'd spend once you establish, the lines sometimes move closer, but they're not going to make you move and keep within a K. So, but to get approved to go out, I need to show today's front line, and this is where I want to go. And then they're okay, you can, because it's within the guidelines. And that's all we did. But we weren't never, your question?
Yeah.
I was never, sometimes maybe they were on the front, I was never shoulder to shoulder with them. I'm supporting them now. Like bare bone sniping of supporting own troops, protecting them as they move, blah, blah, blah. That's what we're doing.
So more of like the observation, the recce, the airstrikes, things like that.
Yeah, and then if they're in a gunfight, I'm trying to position myself to take down ISIS that's shooting at them, like mutual support, or not mutual support, like close support.
Yeah, mutually supporting fires.
Yeah, they're not protecting me, I'm protecting them, kind of.
Right. Any particular stories from that deployment that stand out in your mind?
No, a lot of combat, meaning a lot of engagement. We were far enough that Daesh never reached us. They reach our building once in a while with sporadic fire or rockets or blah, blah, but nothing like that I felt, we need to move. I'm saying we laid waste. I can say it, and I'm happy about it. We laid waste to this. That's the worst terrorist organization that that I am proud that I took down, and my guys and I took down a lot of them because they deserve it.
Yeah.
I don't have to go into the horrific stuff that they were doing. That was my most busy tour, and it ended my career well. I wish I did more, but for the months that I was there's no crazy story like the one I just discussed in 2015. It was a lot of work, and good work, and it was like I said, I was sniper for most of my career, but that's the tour that was the most engagement. And one thing that I can say I'm proud of is I was a commander, so I spent more time spotting. You understand that terminology? I spent more time in the spotting scope, finding target, and getting my guys on. But I was proud of that because my career was coming to an end. I knew it, and two guys got their first kills under my spotting. To an experienced sniper, it's the best feeling, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can tell you that he's still serving. I won't say his name, but he knows who he is. This first guy got his first kill at night. His pants around his ankles because I'm on shift, and I took a lot. I love being in the optics, so I took long shifts. And I'm at night. It's like 2 a.m. and across there was a small river. Anyway, I'm seeing across the river flashes. So they're starting to just shoot towards our bank with machine guns, RPKs probably, and two or three of them. And I'm on the turmoil, and I'm like, I won't say his name, I'm like, because, it's time for them to sleep, so I'm just observing. And I'm like, hey, get here, get here. So he shows up, and he was so horny that, he didn't even, because we sleep with our boots on, and our pants is so hot, pants are down to the ankle. You're sleeping like that just to air it out. He didn't even bother putting his pants up. And his gun is set up on the tripod, ready to go, like just bolt open. And this guy just come in, helmet, NVGs, and just like in his underwear, no shirt, sits on his chair, like, where, boss? And I put him on, and then boom, first round across the border, right in the chest. That gunner is beautiful.
Holy
And
shit.
then big high fives, big hugs, because it's his first one, and he went back to bed. Great.
And around this time frame on this deployment, you also started noticing you were having like some cognitive issues, right?
Yeah. So that's what I would love to get into after. I am not diagnosed, but I have it. And the reason I'm not diagnosed with TBI is because maybe it's definitely an error. But maybe I come from the old school mentality. I joined in 2000. It was still the end of the 90s, like be hard, and then we can discuss the injuries I had through my career. But many, many concussions. Some are recorded in my records, but some are just like shake it off.
Yeah.
A headache the next day, and hard landing, parachuting, concussions from falling from whatever. So I banged my head many times during all these years. And I guess now I know, I'm educated. You'll see I educated myself quite a bit on it. And when your brain rattles in your skull, and people know this, but if you don't know, when your brain rattles and it's in liquid, right? Look, I'm not a doctor or scientist, but I understand my brain is in some jelly inside my skull. And when it's rattled too many times, it leaves bruises on your brain, right? And not only people will think hard landing at night, parachute, boom, you knock yourself out, you got a concussion. Everybody understand that. But just the nature of a soft operator being close by door breach, wall breach, shooting, 84, that creates a vacuum. It is a mini concussion every time, right? Am I saying it right? The vacuum,
Blast wave.
Yeah, correct. So blast wave, and what they started because I love that now it's online and now they're researching it. But when I left, so I left in 2019, we'll skip that, but I decided to move to the UK in 2019. Just a few months before I left, CANSOF really started looking into traumatic brain injury, TBI, military-related traumatic brain injury. And just before I left, it was starting to be really a thing. And then there started being, okay, who's more prone? I remember that. And it came down to breachers and snipers. Breachers, obviously explosive all day, nonstop. And snipers was more of a, oh, maybe snipers, we should do tests on them. Because they shoot these high velocity, high caliber rounds right by their head. It's probably doing something. So they brought us their range, just a flat range on base, and some doctors and scientists came from Toronto, I think. And they started putting these microphones a bit everywhere. And we're outside and we're doing they're like, bring the heaviest caliber you have. So, okay, 50 cal. And then, we'll take the can off, because it's more blast. And I don't remember the numbers, but we took some shots and they're like, oh. And then I tell you, Jack, they unplug stuff, replug.
Yeah, because you maxed it out. You maxed out the meter.
Yeah, the system's not working. You see where I'm going. And then we do it again. And they're like, this is crazy. This is like 500% more than what we see in the NFL. Okay.
Another day at the office. Yeah.
But we didn't even do it inside, Jack. That's outside open air.
Yeah.
Like I told you, we just shot 100 something from inside buildings for months. I don't know the number, but inside a building, everything's more condensed. So back to your question, I don't remember when I started realizing, that my temper's changing. I have a shorter fuse. Maybe 2015, 16. I started realizing that there was some stuff that it's not me, drinking more heavily, wanting to party, short fuse, memory loss, can't remember grocery list, blah, blah. Anyway, but I don't say anything because first I don't want to get sidelined, and you know how it is. So, and I know there's people who are listening to this and they're like, oh, that's me. You don't want to get sidelined when you're a self-operator. You want to do as many missions as you can and blah, 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 right? So it's when I retired, and that's the portion I think it's important for people to listen, because you're probably like me. You're serving, you have these things you don't want to talk about. When I left and I went in entrepreneurship on my own, then what's important to understand is nobody's paying me. I need to make my own money because I'm my own boss. So now it's important that I got my wits. And that's when it really started hitting me, that I could feel something's weird. And looking around and what do I do? And I don't have the money to go private in the UK, blah, blah, blah. But then, I need to spend money. So for me, I know I don't have PTSD, but I knew I had TBI. Long story short, I went to Mexico and I tried Disawa Musel. And basically, and again, I'm not a scientist, but it's IV, and I did one IV bag. They call it the golden bag. You pay for it. And
could you tell us a little bit more about like what this is, what this treatment is, and like what it's normally used for?
So it's stem cell therapy, okay, right? But I think they named it over the doctor in Japan. It's a lady, and her last name I believe is Disawa. So she I don't know when, she realized that Muse cells, I believe there's many Muse cells, it's a thing. But she realized that there's one that was better than others. So that's all I know. But if you'd get this specific Muse cell, yes, stem cell therapy, we'll discuss in what it fixed for me for all my little bobos. That's instant almost. Whatever they put in that bag, they put 4 different things. So you're buying anti-inflammatory. There's strong anti-inflammatory, but the actual mucil, it fixes. It's supposed to be able to rebuild cartilage a little bit. Anyway, but for my brain, it's supposed to last 18 months. Like the entire thing, the process lasts 18 months. I tell you, Jack, 3 months into it, I swear, I woke up a morning and I didn't even know I had an A's. And I don't know if, you've been retired a while, but maybe people will relate to that. I didn't notice because it creeped in, but I had an A's. Like I couldn't concentrate, but it
Mind
becomes
fog.
normal,
Yeah.
right? I was aging. How my brain was relating to it is, you're aging. I'm 42 now. Like, oh, you're aging. I woke up one morning. So that night, this thing just got rid of this A's of TBI that I had. I was clear that day. I remember exactly when it was. And I'm like, whew, I'm going to spend 3 hours at the gym today. Like I had just more energy. And I can, I'm a business owner now and I need to pitch client and corporation. I used to have, because I took this bag in March, so a few months back. I'm not even done the 18 months. But so before that, Butch would have to like practice and take notes and really go with notes or PowerPoint and have my cue lines. Now, no. I rehearse, obviously, but then it's boom, boom, boom. My wife, a beautiful wife, can send me to the grocery store with a list of 10 things and I don't forget one. Before that, I would have to like, send me a text. And then I would even sometimes in the middle, like, have to look at the text a few times. So something happens in your brain that it fixes it. I don't get angry. I got a 4-year-old boy. A 4-year-old boy is like a raptor. It climbs walls. It doesn't listen to you, Anyway, mine's like that. And my wife really noticed it because she's like, you have so much more patience with your son. Like she knows I did that, right? And she's like, wow, So again, look, I sound like a salesman now, but I want so basically my message to your listeners, especially if they have a police, background, firefighters that knocked their head a lot. Like there's stuff out there, and I'm not saying to go to Mexico, but there's stuff out there that will fix you. And another thing, I got a friend of mine. He was a JTAC with us, so Gordon Early is his name. It's mostly Canadian trench wreck, but if there's listeners in Canada, this guy was just last week at Parliament. He's trying to push psychedelic. You're used to that in the States too.
Yep.
There's 2 things. There's TBI. I don't want to speak all night about it, but there's TBI and there's PTSD. Our government, yours and mine, need to realize that you don't have to put pills into soldiers. I'll use soldiers because I am one, but law enforcement, firemen, EMTs, you don't have to fill them with pills. They should investigate, the Zawo of Mucel if they wish to, or psychedelics for PTSD, because this does wonders. Gordon is big advocate, and he's going to move the government into looking into this because he's out there with the media and stuff.
That's awesome. There's I just interviewed earlier today, the director and one of the persons in the documentary he made, Marcus Capone, who's a former Navy SEAL. And this documentary is going to be out on Netflix next week in like a matter of days. And it's all about these SEALs going down to, I believe they did go down to Mexico and doing Ibogaine and DMT and, the whole psychedelic treatment. And I mean, they're very open and very vulnerable in this documentary. And I really encourage people to go and see it because it gets a lot of this.
For you. Yeah. And plus, through your channel, you got so much reach. So I respect that. If you're, because I really believe in it now. Like it's real now. I'm like, I'll try it. I think there's something for PTSD and maybe TBI, but psychedelics for PTSD And TBI, they need to look at this AWA because it works. It saved my life. Like look, I don't want to go into the details, but marriage is hard,
Sure.
especially if you're all fucked up in the head. You do
Yeah,
stupid
yeah.
things, and now for months, me and my wife, my beautiful wife's pregnant now, and we're just happy. And it's because of this, I know it. Because it was, it took months, but at some point I'm like, wow, like this is real, So yeah.
So tell us about the 242 group.
Look, this is the new adventure of my life. Long story short, because we've been on for a long time, I retired in 2019, and I sold everything, and I left to the UK with 3 suitcases, I think. It was to work for in risk mitigation, head of risk mitigation for an entrepreneur, a businessman. And I did that. I cut my teeth into private security, basically. And that lasted better part of 3 years. And then I opened my own thing, 242 Group, just because I miss working as a team. Working for just one client, it was great. But I wanted to have a try at being an entrepreneur. So it grew pretty fast. We just did our 3rd year anniversary, but I can tell you that I love it because basically me and my 3 co-founders, which I'm proud to say, like I'm CANSOF, and 2 of my co-founders are UKSF, and another one is from the Met Police. CTSF was like their federal counter-terror police, so like the highest SWAT team you can get here. So that's the 4 of us that decided to start this, and it grew in 4 departments. So basically we have a department that does risk mitigation, so the EP work, surveillance, investigate, the cookie cutter EP, blah blah blah. We have that. That was our first department, but it quickly grew into 3 more departments because we saw that us and our network, because we're global, guys from SOCOM, JSOC, subcontract, Green Berets, blah blah blah, name it. We do stuff in the US through them. We're in Africa often. So we decided to open the UK gun laws. We can't have a school here like Constella, so we can't. So we have training teams. So our SAS, retired SAS guy, he leads the training department. So we do special warfare. We send training teams to places. We were in Ukraine quite a bit, Poland, Africa, blah, blah, blah. So he leads that department. And then special projects, I don't want to discuss it too much because it's our coolest department, but it does stuff for agencies and government departments, problem solving tanks, stuff that they need our expertise to do that they don't want to have their name attached, maybe, So we work mostly for corporation too, but it's basically look, everybody has a special project department, but ours, that's what it does. It fixes problems unconventional ways and all that.
Right.
And the thing that's interesting, if you go on the website, you'll see we got the MSU Mobile Security Unit. I'm proud to say we're the first in the world that has a purpose-built private motorbike escort service. Okay, not unlike what you see the cops have, when they do convoys and they have, but it's different for us. That's why we're the first one. Is there's a specific problem in London, UK, and it's organized crime, but it's mopeds, little mopeds. It's called moped crime here. And how this department came to life is these wealthy guys here, they can't drive their supercars, let's say in London, show it off, drive around, because mopeds will come alongside, they tape rebar, let's say, to their forearm. So the rear guy will wait till the car is stopped at a red light in traffic, smash the window, and what they want is this jewelry. The driver will have a Patek Philippe, or they steal watches, ladies' necklace, their purses. They don't steal the car, it's not a hijack. They want to come in and they stab them or they threaten them with a knife to get their jewelry. So in 2022, we're like, how do we fix this? And the conventional way, same as in the US or everywhere in the world, your client, as he wants to drive his Lamborghini, you don't put a EP guy on the seat next to him. You have a chase car. But in populated cities, dense cities, it doesn't work. The response time, you get the Range Rover following the Lambo. If he burns a yellow light, then you're stuck at it doesn't work. But bikes, you're always with your client. And the mopeds, they don't get close and you can react immediately. Anyway, so we have I found out we're the first in the world because I had to pay for the policy for this. It's extremely expensive. I had to go to Lloyd's of London. Thank you, Lloyd's. They had to draft a policy, and they're like, "We can't find comparables. It doesn't exist." So I paid for the lawyer fees and stuff to do the policy,
to insure everything.
So I'm proud of it, though.
I think we have a question from a viewer.
Oh, nice.
Give me 1 sec, please.
Does that happen often, or am I a first?
No, people who subscribe to us on Patreon, we let them ask questions.
Timer.
All right. So from Lane Hutchinson, which CFB has the most unpredictable weather?
Oh, that's an easy one. He must be Canadian. CFB Wainwright. It's got a microclimate. It's disgusting there.
That's way up north, isn't it?
It's central. It's in Alberta, if I'm correct.
Okay.
From the East Coast. I did a few training events there. I did one of my leadership course there. It's famous that CFB Wainwright. I tell you, it's like the Brecon Beacons here in the UK. It will snow sideways in August, and then immediately after freezing rain, immediately after sun, like it's crazy.
I
and the
think
ground is horrible.
I think we might have a Wainwright in Alaska. I'm probably mixing the two up.
I know. Yes, you probably have, but yeah. So I don't know why it's got something to do with there's the Rockies and then whatever, but that base is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
The PPCLI know it way better than me because they're the West Coast. Me, I just because CANSOF trains a bit everywhere. I visited a few times and I know the rumor and it's true. It's disgusting.
You got another one, D?
Yeah, we got another one from Sean Dudley. Can you tell us the most esoteric skill set you've been or seen taught that unexpectedly came in handy?
Ooh, that's a good one. I need to dust off the TBI for that one. Esoteric. Please define the word esoteric to the French Canadian.
I think he means like kind of like odd, outside the norm. Like if you guys learned like lock picking or something like that.
I hopefully, as you can tell during this 90 minutes we've been together or 2 hours, my speaking ability, even though I have an accent and I don't quite speak English good, talking my way into places, and that goes with special warfare and building rapport with partners. Look, the little example of me and Jay making fake IDs, but talking my way out of situation or in areas or talking my way into situation that will benefit myself. Bullshitting is the word. That's the skill that
I think we prefer to use the term rapport building, Butch.
Yeah, I try to keep it real here for your guys. Yeah, that's a skill that, and I think most soft unit, they need that skill, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially I think special forces.
Well, yeah. Butch, thank you for sharing your story with us tonight. This has been awesome. And please tell viewers out there where they can find you, where they can find 242 Group. If they want to employ your services, where should they go?
Yeah, look, that's a good point, actually. We're doing good enough that I think Q1, look, the paperwork's getting drafted. We will be in Florida, which I'm excited about because, it's a good state. We're gonna have a CEO there, and so the two guys will have an office there, and you understand that world, we subcontract.
Right,
But
right.
the thing is, if you go on 242-group.com, you'll see our website. It will get all translated into, okay, now you're gonna pick USA or UK. But what I mean is, all your viewers, most guys have retired soft background, and please go on the website, click on the department, see our story. And we are global. We operate in the US legally via subcontractors. We have a great list of onboarded guys, because we don't take, it's not because you were soft that we take you. You need to have a certain demeanor and the type of experience and skills that we need. But we're always building a bigger network of operatives, So go on the website, review the departments. If there's a department that you're interested in, there's an inquiry in the box. Like I said, Q1 2026 will need a lot of good operatives in the US, because we'll be based there now legally. So we'll be truly global so the plan is 242 Group, the CEO, which JTF2 Colonel, so he'll immigrate down to you guys, but he spends 6 months a year anyway in Florida. And I don't want to say his name yet, but SEAL Team 6 guy will be his second guy, so operation manager. These two guys will run Western Hemisphere. So now, instead of time zones and we were just in Brazil doing something pretty cool. Now, these two guys will take Western Hemisphere from us. So South America, USA, Canada will all be handled by them. And then Europe, Africa, and we'll support each other. But you understand, I'm trying to divide.
Right.
You guys main task and support us, but main task will be Western Hemisphere, Eastern Hemisphere with us. And then if it goes well still, then we're gonna move further. You can say West or East, but we won't have a presence in Southeast Asia.
Oh, amazing.
I can tell you that my plan would probably be to have CEO, let's say SASR or 2 Commando, Australia based, and then it would take Southeast Asia from us.
It's awesome.
But I'm truly building a group. It's becoming a real group now. And if you're interested in us, the most important thing to us is our guys. We will never compromise our guys for money, because this world of contracting, there's a lot of paying the guys lower wages, trying to make more profit. Oh, the client said that, so we make it happen. We turn down clients. I'm building a culture of what I miss, because I miss my regiment so much. Miss these guys every day until I die. So what I'm doing in the private sector, and my 3 co-founders are doing, is building our own little culture of guys first, men before gear, that's what we're building. So
that's awesome.
That's us. Thank you for letting me say that,
Yeah, 100%, man.
The volume of what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, we really appreciate your time and spending some of your evening with us to tell us your story. So folks, I hope you'll go and take a look at 242 Group. Sounds like they're expanding rapidly. And for everyone else, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody.
Hey guys, I want to tell all of you today about a new newsletter that we're launching that encompasses both the Team House podcast, the Eyes On podcast, and the High Side news outlet, which I run with Sean Naylor. The newsletter is going to be once a week. It's going to come into your inbox, and you're going to get the most current podcasts on Eyes On and the Team House, and whatever's topical or current on the High Side. So it's another way for us to get the information out to you, as social media algorithms are pretty iffy and you never really know what you're going to get. So this is a once a week email. It'll slide into your inbox, and it will have, the greatest hits of that week.
It's really good, man. I'm checking it out.
The website for it is teamhousepodcast.kit.com/join. teamhousepodcast.kit.com/join. You go there and you enter into your email list, or you enter your email into the little thing on the website, and you're good to go. And that'll be it. So we really appreciate your support and hope you'll consider signing up.
Where's the link?
The link will also be down in the description if you're looking for it there.
And that's teamhousepodcast.kit, K-I-T, Kilo India Tango.com /join.